Today is one of those conversations that the major platforms like YouTube do not want you to hear. And thanks to sponsors like mine, you are still hearing them. And also, of course, thanks to platforms like Rumble, Locals, and Rockfin, where you're watching this live. Don't forget, if you are considering doing any kind of liver health, liver detox, for the reasons of, and there are many, say you are having chronic fatigue issues, chronic pain issues, you eat a lot of carbs, or you're on processed foods, sugars, you're working to get your way off of those, you got brain fog. You can't hurt by helping your liver. And this is a great formula. It's totally natural. All the ingredients are basically vegetable extracts. I'll show you them. And they're developed by naturopathic and allopathic physicians. Turmeric, black pepper, beet, dandelion, milk thistle, artichoke extract, ginger, alfalfa. Gotta say, my horse eats alfalfa. My son likes to eat alfalfa. Now I feel much better about him eating alfalfa because I see it is in this supplement. L-cysteine, glycine, and vitamin D3. You get a free bottle of their omega-3 fish oil supplement on top of it with this, and it is just a great way to support the work as well as get something that helps out your body. GetLiverHelp.com/Allison. The whole article does, this was a new term to me when I got into the podcasting world, but the idea of a limited hangout. In other words, you can talk about a particular topic in a way that allows people to vent their frustrations, but it's safe enough for the powers that be, I guess, that want to kind of direct the narrative. So we can say we've talked about it, but we haven't really talked about it. What do you think about that term in relation to the New York Times story?
Yes, I think that was the first time I heard that term was in regards to this article. And I think that's exactly what this is. And anybody else who's going to cover this from mainstream media is going to do the same thing. Again, they're going to control it using the words they want, like, oh, they believe they're injured, or, oh, this is rare. And so we're going to have that limited narrative. And I want to go back to your wine commercial. That is so important. That's why it's so important for people to support people like you and every other journalist out there, because you're not receiving the money from from Pfizer ads, from all the pharmaceutical ads, like the New York Times or any mainstream media. So it's so important to support people like you, so we can get out more than the limited narrative, the limited hangout.
One last thing from your thread on Twitter. You have more screenshots from the article. We toe the line. Who is this? Okay, director of CDC's National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases. We toe the line by reporting the signals that we think are real signals and reporting them as soon as we identify them as signals. And said the agency's systems for monitoring vaccine safety are pretty close to ideal. And then you have the next quote here that said the people they interview all had been turned away by their physicians, told their symptoms were psychosomatic. So how do you have an ideal reporting system when nobody's getting reported because their doctors don't believe what they're talking about? I mean, it's everything like you said with this reporter. It's a lot of like, yeah, but this, but this, but this, but this, but this, but this. But she never really says but that's weird that they would say that it's close to ideal when. How could you have an ideal system when this is how these people are being treated? She doesn't go for the bullseye on it, which is basically it's just a total mess and you don't know what you're talking about. And obviously, if you wanted to know what you were talking about, you would figure it out because you're the United States of America and you surveil everything about us that you want to know. If you wanted to know this, you'd surveil it too. I mean, my gosh, you can figure out where I am at a moment's notice and everything I've ever searched for on my phone. I'm pretty sure you can figure out if this has happened to me. You can figure out what vaccines are doing to people if you really wanted to figure it out. And that's why I think theirs is set up the way it is. I think it's purposefully left the way it is because I think they like the confusion. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have this expectation of competence within our government. Like we think people are competent, and I think there's a lot of incompetence. I mean, I just think that they're literally people just don't even know what they're doing. They don't even our elected officials or people that you think should know stuff, and they don't, and stuff that should get reported. It's literally, you know, we want to be careful that we're not attributing malevolence to what is incompetence. What is that? Hanlon's razor, I think.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, do we need to have grace? Okay. But we need to keep pressing on, so that the truth can be known and people can get helped, and we never come back to this again, because it's coming. I mean, this this isn't like, oh, this will never happen again. Yeah, I mean, we've got the whole WHO treaty. I mean, that's all. I mean, you could. I don't know if you've had guests on that yet. I mean, that's just a whole nother issue where, that's coming up at the end of the month, and oh, we've got to sign on to this. So, well, the WHO messed up everything. So, and this just gives them more power and more control and takes away our sovereignty. And um, we just, we just need to not grow weary in well doing and giving the truth to anybody, just getting it out there.
Right. I think the ignorance itself, if I were to just like, let's assume ignorance and not
Okay.
malice, is not really my biggest issue. It's that there was such a drumbeat for silencing people. So if there was a little more humility, like the ignorance isn't the problem, in my opinion. It's pride, it's a hubris paired with the ignorance and the pressure to silence people who disagree. Like that's where I start questioning the whole ignorance, because it was like, well, I don't really know for sure, so I'm not gonna say other people should be silenced because I don't totally know, and I would like to learn. I'm a student. I want to of scientific information. I want to know what's going on out there. Then you would think they would want to hear all the things out there, and yet the media was just so intent on having their pedestal, I guess, be raised above those of us who they deemed to be spreaders of misinformation, and they were going after the platforms, to just whatever, whether it was just repeating what Jen Psaki was saying about Facebook killing people or whatever else there was.
Right.
So I think that to me was way more concerning than just like the ignorance itself. It was just this like really gross effort to bury information that if like you knew you were ignorant, or at least you knew that you had something to learn, like if you were curious and you wanted to learn things, why so many professionals even, I mean, I can even understand why they would say Allison shouldn't be talking because she doesn't know what she's talking about because she's just a former TV reporter. But like so many of the people that I interviewed were experts in their field, and the fact that there was like this drive to push those people off of the stage, I don't know, that's just where I kind of fall on the whole ignorance thing. Yeah, I mean, dumb people, like we're all dumb in some way. None of us know everything, but stop trying to silence people then. That just seems like a bad idea. Okay. Really fast. I wanted to say I get real mail. See? A real letter. Thank you. This is from Chuck. I read part of Chuck's the other day, but I'll just start at the beginning. Let me thank you for doing, hang on, I'll put my P.O. box up so you can send me some mail too. First, let me thank you for doing all my heavy lifting, doing what you do best, researching and digging into the news to bring me a fair look at both sides. As a Luddite with not much time to do the work myself, I truly value your work. Thank you, Chuck. So thanks to everybody who supports me on the actual postal service. P.O. Box 3355, Denellen, Florida 34432. Really appreciate that. And go to Allison Wine Promo, join the wine club. You will get 6 bottles of amazing wine every 3 months. We're going to change it up from just you pick whatever you want of the extremist wines to now we're all going to be drinking the same extremist wine together. We also have moved it from only Argentina to a bunch of different places around the world. So now we're going to all be global extremists. You want to be an extremist. You don't want to go to federal prison. You don't want to be written up by the New York Times. This is a great way to do it. AllisonWinePromo.com. It's a great way to support the work. And these are just amazing wines. If you're already a wine drinker, think about the smallest vineyard, the highest vineyard, the oldest vineyard in the world, and what the grapes are doing, how hard they're working for your palate. That's the exact vineyard that you're going to be getting your wine from. And you're going to get to hear from the guy who's like the wine hunter, the extremist wine hunter around the world. He's amazing and very, very, very knowledgeable. Like he literally, you might think he's crazy for this, but he literally like risks his life to go find these wines. Yeah, you might think that's totally nuts. I would never do that. But anyway, he likes doing it and he gets free drinks. So I'm not going to judge him today. AllisonWinePromo.com. Go sign up, join the newsletter. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun.